For many adults over the age of 50, one of the most silent but life-changing conditions is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength, known as sarcopenia. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts quietly. Climbing stairs feels harder. Carrying groceries becomes tiring. Getting up from a chair requires more effort than before. Over time, this slow decline can take away independence, increase fall risk, and reduce confidence in daily life. What makes it more concerning is that studies show adults can lose between 3% to 8% of muscle mass per decade after age 30, and this rate often accelerates after 60 if nothing is done to actively counter it. But the important truth is this: it is not an unavoidable part of aging. I am Dr. Walker Official, and for over 25 years I've focused on helping adults over 60 manage common aging-related health challenges, from circulation and joint issues to muscle loss and mobility decline. In this video, I'll show you what is really happening with sarcopenia and the practical steps that can help rebuild strength safely. Research from geriatric health studies consistently shows that reduced muscle strength is one of the strongest predictors of loss of independence in older adults. In fact, weaker muscle function has been linked to up to a 2 to 3 times higher risk of falls and hospitalization. The real danger is not just aging itself, but inactivity combined with metabolic slowdown, poor protein utilization, and reduced neuromuscular activation. In today's video, you will discover a simple but structured approach that can help activate dormant muscle fibers and improve functional strength in as little as 30 days. We will also break down a ranked list of exercises and habits, from least effective to most powerful, so you know exactly what actually works and what is wasting your time. Most importantly, I will also reveal the most common mistake almost every senior makes when trying to regain strength, which unknowingly slows down results. In the human body, muscle is not just a structure for movement. It is a living tissue that constantly rebuilds itself based on demand. The key driver behind sarcopenia is the imbalance between muscle protein breakdown and muscle protein synthesis. After the age of 50, this balance begins to shift. The body becomes less responsive to protein intake, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance, and the nervous system becomes less efficient at activating muscle fibers during everyday movement. Clinical research published in geriatric and metabolic journals shows that adults can experience a 30% decline in muscle strength between the ages of 50 and 70, even when body weight remains stable. Another large population study found that low muscle strength is more predictive of mortality in older adults than body fat percentage or even mild chronic diseases. This means muscle health is not just about appearance. It is directly linked to longevity and independence. One of the major biological changes behind this process is the decline in fast-twitch muscle fibers, which are responsible for power, balance, and quick reactions. These fibers shrink faster with inactivity. At the same time, mitochondrial efficiency decreases, meaning muscles produce less energy from the same amount of oxygen. As a result, even simple tasks feel more exhausting than before. Geriatric specialists also highlight that hormonal shifts play a supporting role. Lower levels of growth hormone, testosterone, and insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, reduce the body's ability to repair and rebuild muscle tissue after daily wear and tear. However, this is not purely hormonal aging. It is strongly influenced by lifestyle and movement patterns. What makes sarcopenia particularly dangerous is that it often progresses silently. Many people assume fatigue or weakness is simply normal aging, so they reduce activity even further. This creates a downward cycle. Less movement leads to faster muscle loss, and faster muscle loss leads to even less movement. Interestingly, research shows that even in adults over 70, muscle cells still retain the ability to grow when properly stimulated through resistance-based activity and adequate nutrition. One of the biggest challenges in addressing sarcopenia is that many people unknowingly follow habits that actually accelerate muscle loss instead of slowing it down. The first common misconception is relying only on walking as enough exercise. While walking is excellent for heart health and circulation, it does very little to stimulate muscle growth in the arms, legs, and core. Without resistance or load, muscle fibers do not receive a strong enough signal to rebuild, and the body continues to lose strength gradually. The second mistake is consuming too little protein or spreading it incorrectly throughout the day. Many older adults eat most of their protein at dinner, but research suggests that muscles respond better when protein intake is distributed evenly across meals. When protein intake is too low or poorly timed, the body struggles to activate muscle protein synthesis, leading to continued breakdown over time. The third misconception is avoiding strength-based activity due to fear of injury. Ironically, this avoidance increases risk. Clinical observations show that inactivity weakens connective tissues, reduces joint stability, and increases fall risk. In contrast, properly guided resistance exercises improve bone density, tendon strength, and neuromuscular coordination. The deeper issue is that most standard advice focuses on general fitness, like stay active or eat healthy, without addressing the specific biological need to challenge muscles against resistance. This means the root cause of sarcopenia, which is reduced muscle stimulation, remains untreated. However, emerging clinical findings suggest something important. Muscle decline is not a fixed one-way process. Even in older adults, muscle fibers can regain strength and size when they are consistently exposed to progressive, controlled stress. In simple terms, the body still responds. It just needs the right signal. This is where structured home-based exercises become a powerful tool. Instead of treating symptoms like fatigue or weakness, they directly target the biological mechanism causing the decline. Let's now move into the most practical part of this video, the ranked strategies that can help slow down and in some cases significantly improve muscle loss linked with sarcopenia. These are arranged from least effective to most powerful based on real-world physiological impact, not popularity. At number 10, we have light stretching routines. Stretching improves flexibility and joint comfort, and it can slightly enhance blood flow to muscles. However, it does very little to stimulate muscle growth or reverse muscle loss. While it is helpful for mobility, it cannot rebuild strength on its own. Verdict: useful for comfort, but not for rebuilding muscle. At number 9, daily walking comes in. Walking supports cardiovascular health and helps maintain basic endurance. Some studies show it can reduce overall frailty risk by about 10–15%, but it does not provide enough resistance to trigger muscle hypertrophy. Verdict: essential for health, but incomplete for sarcopenia. Number 8 is light resistance band exercises. These introduce mild resistance, helping activate dormant muscle fibers. Research suggests consistent use can improve muscle activation by around 15–25% in older adults. The limitation is that intensity often remains too low unless progressively increased. Verdict: a good entry-level strength tool. At number 7, body weight squats against a chair or wall-supported movements. These engage major muscle groups, like thighs and glutes. Clinical observations show improved functional strength in about 3 to 4 weeks when done regularly. However, many seniors stop progressing because resistance does not increase easily. Verdict: highly effective for function, but needs progression. Number 6 is protein timing with meals. Distributing protein evenly across breakfast, lunch, and dinner improves muscle protein synthesis efficiency by up to 20% compared to a regular intake. The limitation is that without exercise, protein alone cannot rebuild lost muscle. Verdict: supportive, not standalone. At number 5, stair climbing or step exercises. This adds natural resistance using body weight and gravity. It improves leg strength and balance significantly, with some studies showing up to 25–30% improvement in lower body endurance over time. However, joint stress can be a concern for some individuals. Verdict: powerful but must be done carefully. Number 4 is slow, controlled chair-to-stand repetitions. This directly targets real-life strength needed for independence. It improves functional mobility and reduces fall risk by strengthening core and leg coordination. Limitation. Results depend on consistency and gradual increase in repetitions. Verdict. Highly practical daily movement. At number 3, light dumbbell or water bottle resistance training. This is where real muscle rebuilding begins. Even low weights can stimulate hypertrophy when performed slowly and consistently. Studies show noticeable strength gains within 4 to 6 weeks. Limitation. Requires correct form. Verdict. One of the most effective at-home solutions. Now we move into the top 2, which are significantly more impactful for reversing sarcopenia trends. At number 2, progressive resistance training with structured overload. This means gradually increasing difficulty over time, more reps, more resistance, or slower tempo. Clinical research shows this method can improve muscle strength by up to 40 to 60% in older adults within 8 to 12 weeks. Limitation. Requires discipline and structure. Verdict. Scientifically proven gold standard. And at number 1, the most powerful approach is combining resistance training with protein optimization and neuromuscular activation exercises. This means not only exercising muscles, but also retraining the nervous system to activate them efficiently while supporting recovery with proper nutrition. Studies suggest this combined method produces the fastest improvements in strength, balance, and independence, even in adults over 65. Limitation. Consistency is required, but benefits are substantial. Verdict. The most complete and effective strategy available. Now that you understand the full ranking, the next step is, now let's focus on what actually creates the fastest and most noticeable improvement in muscle strength after 50, especially when sarcopenia has already started to affect daily life. The key is not doing more exercises, but doing the right combination in a structured and repeatable way that targets both muscle fibers and the nervous system together. The top 3 most effective strategies are progressive resistance training, protein optimization, and neuromuscular activation exercises. When combined correctly, they work together to rebuild strength, improve balance, and restore functional independence. The third most effective is neuromuscular activation, which includes slow controlled movements like sit-to-stand exercises, wall push-ups, and step-ups. These exercises retrain the brain-muscle connection that weakens with age. The goal is not speed, but control. Doing 8 to 12 repetitions per movement once or twice daily helps wake up inactive muscle fibers. This alone can noticeably improve stability within 2 to 3 weeks. The second most effective is protein optimization. After age 50, the body requires more protein to stimulate the same muscle-building response. A practical guideline supported by clinical nutrition studies is approximately 1.0 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, spread evenly across meals. For example, eggs in the morning, lean meat or legumes at lunch, and fish or dairy at dinner. One important rule is to include at least 25-30 grams of protein per meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis effectively. A mild side effect in some people may be digestive discomfort if protein intake is increased too quickly, so gradual adjustment is recommended. People with kidney disease should always consult a doctor before making major protein changes. The number 1 and most powerful strategy is progressive resistance training at home. This means using body weight, resistance bands, or light dumbbells while gradually increasing difficulty over time. For example, starting with chair squats for 10 repetitions and slowly progressing to 15 to 20 repetitions or adding resistance bands around the thighs. The key principle is overload. Muscles must be challenged slightly more each week to grow stronger. A simple 20-25 minute daily routine can include sit-to-stand movements, wall push-ups, light dumbbell curls, and step-ups. Performed consistently, research shows older adults can regain noticeable strength and mobility within 4 to 8 weeks. One harmless side effect may be mild muscle soreness in the beginning, which is a normal adaptation response, not injury. The reason this approach works better than others is because it addresses all 3 core issues at once: muscle stimulation, protein availability, and nervous system activation. When these systems are aligned, the body responds even at an older age. The most important thing to understand at this stage is that sarcopenia is not just a natural consequence of aging. It is largely influenced by repeated daily choices that either slow it down or accelerate it. Many people unintentionally make the same mistakes for years, not realizing they are contributing to muscle loss. One critical mistake is staying inactive for long periods during the day. Even if someone exercises in the morning, sitting for the rest of the day reduces muscle activation signals and slows recovery. Another mistake is avoiding resistance work due to fear of pain or injury, which actually weakens muscles further and increases fall risk over time. A third mistake is undereating protein or relying only on supplements without real food sources, which limits the body's ability to rebuild tissue naturally. Instead of seeing muscle decline as something permanent, it is more accurate to view it as a biological imbalance that can be improved with consistent stimulation and proper nutrition. The body continues to respond to training even in older age. It simply requires more intentional effort and structure. For the next 30 days, the focus is not intensity, but consistency and gradual progress. A simple daily routine of controlled strength exercises, combined with balanced protein intake and light movement throughout the day, can begin to restore strength, stability, and confidence in everyday activities.